This video is brought to you by Aura.
Name 3 weaknesses about yourself. Name 3 things people might not like about you. If you see a guy wearing a suspicious purple hat walk in the door, what should you do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What inspired you to apply for this job?
Let's face it, all these questions are totally stupid and irrelevant, especially that last one. I mean, what do you want me to say? Oh yeah, I've just always had a passion for flipping burgers. Come on, we all know the real answer is because I need the money. So why do they waste so much of your time asking all these stupid BS questions that they already know the answer to and that are not really even relevant to the job at all? Well, at this point, the only possible answer is because they want to totally break your spirit, strip you of your dignity, and totally humiliate you into being a good slave. Imagine someone who would starve toddlers to death so that their bank account balance went from $20 billion to $20 billion and $50. Now imagine that is exactly who rules the world. Hey guys, before we continue, I have a couple of very exciting announcements to make. First of all, I want to give a huge thanks to all of you for helping us get past 7,000 subscribers. It's kind of an interesting lucky number to begin with, and to me personally, in a weird way, I don't know, it kind of signals that we're closer to 10K than 0, which is always a huge milestone for us. And as we hit 7K subscribers, I'm also proud to announce that we've received our first official sponsor for this channel, Aura. It is no secret that we love to talk about very controversial, edgy stuff here in our community. And with free speech under threat seemingly every day now, it is more important now than ever to protect your online privacy and security. This is where the sponsor of today's video, Aura, comes in. Have you ever wanted to take your online security and privacy seriously, but just found it to be way too big of a hassle to download and pay for like literally 10 different apps at once? Aura takes everything you need from identity theft protection to antivirus to even a VPN and much more and puts it all together in one easy to use app. I actually tried it myself and I was shocked to find out how many leaked emails and passwords it detected from some of my old real accounts I used to use across the internet. And I was able to quickly change my passwords to protect myself. Best of all, they have a VPN feature included, which I know a lot of you are going to love. You can now browse the web with full peace of mind knowing you can comment whatever you want and your identity will be fully protected. The VPN is also incredibly fast, by the way. I mean, I didn't even notice I was on a VPN as I was using it. Now, if you were to subscribe to an antivirus, a VPN, a data protection service all individually, you would end up paying quite a lot. But with Aura, you get all these features rolled into one. So check out the link in the description and the pinned comment, or visit aura.com/philosophicalgamer to get a 14-day free trial for Aura. I recently finished watching season 2 of Squid Game, and let me just say it was an absolute banger. I'm even gonna go as far as to say it was better than season 1. Now, in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what Squid Game is about, it's essentially a battle royale where 476 people struggling with financial problems play a sequence of children's playground games, only with a dark twist that if they lose, they get shot in the head and brutally killed. The winner or winners at the end receive a massive cash prize. The general premise of the show, beyond just a critique of the insane modern-day income inequality we all live in, is that the world is run by a bunch of sick, narcissistic freaks who get off on and enjoy humiliating us to satisfy their own power trip fantasies and their sick, twisted egos. Now, I'm starting to think that this doesn't only apply to the evil billionaires we all know and love, but also even to your everyday bosses, managers, and employers. The whole corporate structure is just a narcissist playground of people who didn't get enough attention in high school and are now exercising their sick power fantasies on young employees. The humiliation ritual starts from the job interview process before you're even hired to the day you retire, if you manage to even make it that far. Before you're even accepted at the job, you're asked all kinds of stupid, moronic, irrelevant personality questions like, Can you name 5 weaknesses about yourself? What's something people might not like about you? Why did you leave your last job? First of all, I just have to say, I'd love to ask employers these exact same questions right back at themselves and see how rapidly the answers pour in. I mean, what's something people might not like about you? That's going to be a very, very long list. Let's start with the fact that you're a horrible person and a narcissistic, power-tripping, abusive jackass. Why did you leave your last job? Well, why did your last employee leave? I have a feeling that it's going to be a very similar answer. Probably because you're a horrible person and a narcissistic, power-tripping, abusive jackass. A fellow YouTuber by the name of Deconstructing Narcissism, a very fitting name I might add given the context of this video, recently made a video about how he was given some best employee cookies from his employer for doing his job. Now, you can find countless more examples of this shit all over the internet. You know, stories on Reddit as well as real life experiences where your employer gives you like some BS $20 gift card or a pizza for, you know, being a good little slave. And it's like, yeah, that really helps me deal with these ridiculous modern day $2,000 per month rent prices. But beyond that, this is just another example of how modern day jobs are just a sick humiliation ritual designed to emotionally and psychologically break you so that you'll accept whatever dogshit wages and garbage working conditions they throw at you to fulfill their sick, twisted, narcissist power fantasy. The message they're trying to send you with these best employee cookies and these $20 gift cards is that you're worthless trash, and that you should be grateful for any little piece of breadcrumb they throw your way. You know how when you toss a bunch of breadcrumbs to a flock of birds and they all come pouring in like they haven't eaten in days? That is exactly how your bosses and employers want you to react to their very presence. They want to be exalted as gods, even though they pay and treat you like dog shit. Once again, it is all just a sick narcissist power fantasy. I'd rather die than work a 9-to-5. A few months ago, I saw a slew of Gen Z chats having a massive awakening when it came to seeing how BS the idea of slaving away your whole life for a soulless corporation is. A ton of videos around the idea of death being better than working a 9-to-5 popped up and went viral. Now, I've already covered this a ton in previous videos already, and to no one's surprise, I completely agree with this sentiment, but I recently read a really good book that shed a whole new layer behind it. The book is called Never Split the Difference. It's about the art of negotiations, and it's written by Chris Voss, a guy who worked for the FBI and specialized in the highest stakes, highest pressure imaginable hostage negotiation scenarios. I mean, this guy dealt with everything from violent drug cartels to radical terrorists. Now, one very interesting insight that I read in his book was that even if you hold all the leverage and all the cards in your favor, you never ever want to push the opposite side into a position where you strip them of all their pride and dignity. You can strong arm them for more money, more resources, more time, but the second you strong arm them into losing all their pride and dignity, at that point a lot of them will decide they'd rather just die and take down a bunch of people with them than give in to your negotiations, even if you hold all the leverage. It is a very delicate line you have to walk as a negotiator. For whatever reason, dignity and pride are just very intensely strong human emotions that we would rather die than lose them. And as I was reading this, I realized this is pretty much the exact situation Gen Z is in when they'd say they'd rather die than work a 9-to-5, and why I respect Gen Z so much. The modern day dogshit wages and working conditions are one thing, but I've seen countless young Zoomers work tirelessly to build their own businesses, whether that's their own YouTube channel or their own startups, even when these things hardly pay anything at all in the beginning. So something isn't quite adding up here, until I realized that the bigger issue Gen Z has with modern day work is the fact that they are done with this stupid, ridiculous, narcissist humiliation ritual. They're done with the stupid personality questions, the gift cards, the best employee cookies or pizzas, all of it. These spineless older generations gave us the worst possible advice when telling us, hey, you have to kiss ass and worship authority, otherwise, how are you going to pay your bills and survive? Gen Z just said, fuck that. I'd rather die and keep my dignity, and that, to be honest, is the most giga Chad thing ever. Solutions. So, the only way I really see for us to get out of this mess is if Gen Z just decides to take matters into their own hands, start their own businesses, create their own better working cultures, and reshape society on a macro level. I know this is a lot to ask of a generation where almost half of them aren't even adults yet, and as a millennial, I really have to say, it's unfortunate my own generation didn't have half the balls you guys have. Otherwise, we might be already finding ourselves in a much better world today. It's weird because we were all plagued by the exact same problems Gen Z faces today, but there were only a few millennial renegades like myself who really wanted to change the system. Everyone else kind of just lived life through rose-tinted glasses, hoping that the world would eventually recover from the 2008 financial crash, which we all know by now, it never did. And as a result, unfortunately, Gen Z and maybe some younger Zillennials are the only ones who can really change it. I used to think that people just naturally became assholes when they got into positions of power, that it was just a human nature thing, and that young people wouldn't be any different than boomers when they became bosses and business owners. But my own real life experiences and anecdotes I've seen on the internet seem to suggest otherwise. This comment on Reddit really nailed it.
My new boss is Generation Z. She was born in 1999. I was born in 1990. I've never worked for someone younger than I am. When I tell you the vast differences of her style to my previous boss, I am not exaggerating. All the higher-ups are Gen Z except two. They're all so fucking amazing. Such kind people. So willing to listen and help and open to suggestion. My first day, she mentioned how she supports mental health days and gave me the go-ahead on remote work immediately after seeing my experience. Her peers are the same. Supportive, happy, but grounded. It's awesome.
Now, I get that these are all anecdotes, and look, I don't have some peer-reviewed scientific study to prove otherwise. It wouldn't even be possible to arrange or quantify the assholeness of bosses across different generations in a scientific study, even if you wanted to. So, you can choose to accept this anecdotal evidence or not, I don't really care, but as far as I can tell, this is the only way out of our current hellscape of a reality. My overall message to Gen Z is that you don't have to accept the rules of the shitty modern world you were born into. You can change the game, rewrite the rules, collapse this joke of a system, and rebuild your own better one. But again, this is a lot to ask of a generation, half of whom are not even adults yet. And as I've said before, Gen Z doesn't owe the world anything either. If you'd rather just stay home, live with your parents, and collect welfare, I can't give you any logical reason why you shouldn't. Remember that people complaining about Gen Z being lazy are a bunch of massive hypocrites who only bitch and moan when it's poor people who are not working and collecting welfare. Elon Musk receives billions of dollars of taxpayer-funded government subsidies every year, and none of these corporate shills have a problem with it at all. Whatever $200 per month or so of food stamps you're getting is a tiny, insignificant rounding error compared to all the welfare benefits billionaires receive. So, whether you want to start your own business and change the world or just stay home and play video games, anything and everything is better than working for these delusional, narcissistic boomer employers and participating in their sick, twisted humiliation ritual. And I couldn't be more proud of you for recognizing this and saying no to their bullshit. When you peel back the layers, you'll further realize that it's not just the job market, but the economy as a whole that's run on humiliation. And we expose this further in this video right here. Check it out. I'll see you there.